are you a songwriter?
I don't know, it's quite weird because like when we very first started the band, me and Josh, the guitarist, we just used to kind of go to his house every day after school, just kind of play songs that we know together. Like he taught me how to play guitar, so we just kind of just play songs all the time. And then I think it just got to a point where we were like, how cool would it be if we like could figure out how to record our own songs, and we just started writing them in the garage. So that's what we did. We had like a little 16 track interface, and then we just started like really badly when I look back at it, but like yeah, just recording songs, and then like it kind of just started from there. We had like this whole thing that we were proud of when we were younger, where like I think we've only played one song, like one cover song in a gig, like the whole time we've been a band. And we always thought we were dead cool because like we were playing gigs where bands were doing loads of covers in the set, and then we didn't have one in the set, and we were like, oh yeah, we're kind of smashing it here. But I think it was just like, obviously we love music, but like you just get like a different feeling when you're making a song as opposed to just playing one that you like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Was it Latch that you used to cover at gigs as well?
It is, yeah. How'd you know that?
Don't know, we got a digging.
That's a good one. I've done a bit of digging there, Defo.
Is that like a similar thing though? Because you must have to take that and kind of make it your own. You can't just cover that straight up as it is.
Yeah, we made it into like we at the time we were kind of like really just kind of beasting off guitars that were like, we used to call them like flickety riffs, and it's like, do you know, just really fast picking riffs where it's like digga 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 digga, and like we just kind of made Latch into this funky tune. And then we just used to, I think we did it in like 2 gigs. We did it in the O2 Academy in the small room when we headlined that gig. I think we did, or maybe it was it was when we first played that venue. We did it, and like we had loads of people from our school there, and like it went off. Do you know what I mean? Everyone was like, yeah, because we started playing Latch. Oh, that's mad that you know.
Those those songs that you were writing in the garage when you first started off, what were they kind of centered around, like topic wise? What were you writing about at that time?
It was weird because like I don't think even though obviously like we were starting to write songs for like the first time, I don't really feel like the songwriter like in me was kind of alive then. Do you know what I mean? It was just kind of, I didn't really want to sing, but then no one else would sing, so I was just like, okay, I'll just do it. And then I ended up really loving it. So the lyrics were kind of just, I think we wrote one song about light pollution and then we wrote another one about like how our school was knocked down, and it was like basically like a fucking, it's just like a wasteland now. And we were like, it sounds a bit depressing to be honest, but like it didn't sound depressing at the time because it was kind of like shoegazy music, like really soft, like floaty. Like I couldn't sing at that point, so I've got like quite a deepish speaking voice, so I basically would just speak really deeply on songs. And there was one where it was like, admire the view, like that deep. And it was just like, when I look back at it, I'm like, what the hell were we doing then?
How old were you at that point?
We was 16 at that point. So it was like, I don't even think we had any aspiration of starting a band. It was just like, we were just 2 mates who just loved making music together, and then we just used to put a song on SoundCloud and then show it to our mates, and then that was it really. That's as far as we were kind of thinking it would go at that point. And then it all kind of just fell into place like after that.
It's interesting that you're saying, you know, at that point the songwriter in you hadn't quite come out yet. Was part of that, I mean, if we look at, like, we think about the debut record, part of that gives it its power is the kind of darkness and the emotional weight that they're rooted in. Was that something that maybe wasn't present in your life at that point, and was that why the songwriter hadn't come out yet?
Do you know what? Yeah, like, thinking back to it, like, it might have been like I hadn't kind of experienced anything too bad in life to write songs about. Well, definitely like too bad at that time in life. Do you know what I mean? Like like obviously you have like whatever things happen when you're like kids and you grow up, and but then when we were like 16, I felt like everything was kind of just really good when we were 16. We were going out with our mates all the time, like just having fun. And then like, so there wasn't really like any kind of heartbreak or anything to write about, do you know what I mean? And then yeah, obviously like with the debut album, there's a lot of like lyrics which come back to like mental health and stuff like that. And like that's because like over from the time of 16 to now, like that has been like a massive part of my life, and also like a big part of like the boys' lives as well. Like we've all kind of had like our struggles and like stuff's happened like to our families and stuff. So having like real things to write songs about definitely like kind of it sparks like the inspiration to like actually want to speak about it. Do you know what I mean? But there are loads of our songs which are fictional as well, which I just thought like is a story that definitely applies to someone else's life. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know, like heartbreak. Like there's a song, our song Mixed Signals is like clearly about like a relationship going sour, but like I've been with my girlfriend for 7 years and like our relationship's like boss, so I actually haven't experienced that, do you know what I mean? But I know that so many people do experience that, and it's a song that people like will relate to. And even though I haven't been through it myself, I've seen like friends go through stuff like that. So I think maybe it's just like I wasn't as observant of life when I was 16, do you know what I mean, to like want to write about anything.
Do you become more observant about life as a result of writing songs?
I think so, yeah, because you get people like, I listen to quite a lot of like emo kind of folk music, and a lot of their lyrics like the likes like Phoebe Bridgers and stuff like that, like her lyrics are very like here and now. She's writing exactly what's kind of happening, and like I just find like artists like that so interesting, because like I don't really write songs like that, and like recently I've been trying to a bit more, just kind of, I don't know, just say things that are kind of random but they all make sense when you're talking about like the story of the whole song, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think you do become like more observant, defo. You just try and like take in things, and it's not like you're always like looking at everything like, oh, this is the line, you know, I've just thought of the line that I'm gonna write in this hit song. But like, yeah, that you defo like try and take more in, I think, anyway.
Does it feel different when you're writing a song if you're writing about someone else's experience as opposed to your own? Yeah,
it's much harder. For me, when I'm doing stuff like that, like for the likes of Mixed Signals again, it's like, it's more when I'm writing the lyrics, I'm thinking more about the melody in songs where like it's, you know, the lyrics don't mean too much to me personally. Like I'm thinking a bit more about like fun or catchy melodies or interesting melodies, and then I'll put the words in after that. When it's like a song that means a lot to me, like our song Turn means a lot to me. Like that was like a very much like a lyrics first kind of process. Like it was like something like I wanted to speak about in a song, and then we had the song to put that with, do you know what I mean? And so the writing process for Turn was much easier and much more cathartic than writing a song that I haven't like experienced.
Turn is a really interesting one to kind of look at in the context of the album, because when you present that song on the EP, that EP wraps up with Forget It All, which kind of calls back to it by saying it's your turn to be happy and places it in a more optimistic context.
Yeah, it does, yeah. I'm glad you picked up on that. That's sick.
But you don't really have that. You don't have that to the same extent on the record. You know, you end the record on Leave Me Alone.
Yeah, it's a kind of like statement, isn't it? It's like, go away from me type thing. I don't know. I think that's also like, again, it kind of shows what point maybe I was in life, do you know? Because when we were bringing the first album out, like I was going through quite a lot of stuff, and I was finding it quite hard to enjoy that we were bringing our album out. That might even be kind of why Leave Me Alone. I didn't really think of that like too much going into it, but like I remember writing Leave Me Alone and thinking like, that's got to be the last song on the album. Like it's just like a statement that like I knew it wasn't going to be like one of our best songs that like, you know, like one of our songs that everyone knows it, like, or everyone loves out of our fans, but I just thought like the meaning behind it just kind of was exactly how I felt at the time. Whereas like with the EP, I was kind of feeling a bit more positive about life at the time, and I was like, although I'd wrote 10 at the same time, I'd kind of like went full circle and started feeling better about life. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, Forget It All was like the perfect end to that EP. Sick that you picked up on that, you know. Like, that's boss.
Leave Me Alone kind of references that a little bit as well, though. You know, you're speaking about the fact that you're either sad or happy. Like, it kind of looks at in a slightly, maybe in a slightly more pessimistic light, but acknowledges the fact that you're going to go through this kind of cyclical nature throughout life.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, well, I'm bipolar type 2, so like basically it's different to type 1. Type 1 is like the kind of what everyone imagines bipolar to be. But basically bipolar type 2 is like you go through quite like a depressive stage, and then you just kind of return to like, it's called hypomania, but it's basically just normality. Do you know what I mean?
The mania only lasts like a few days, right? When you're in type 2.
Yeah, like it's not like a very long period of time where you kind of, you are like happy and upbeat and stuff, and then you can just dip. But it's definitely like, it used to be when I was younger, like a lot more predictable, the cycle. But as I've got older and I've got like used to kind of understanding it, I'm getting better with it. Do you know what I mean? When I'm like acknowledging that I'll be sad and happy in songs, it's like I know that like the sad bit like will come back around, but I think it's just like acknowledging it that's the biggest, like the most important part of the whole process is like, and that's why I do mention it quite a lot in songs as well. There's like a few songs for like the second album that I've kind of hinted towards it a bit more. Yeah, and I think that's basically why I kind of do it, because I only found out that I was bipolar when I was like 18 or 17, 18. So it was all just like very new at the time, and it was when the band was starting to kind of get a bit more traction, and I was just finding it like a bit hard to like get used to it. And I was like thinking, oh, my life is just fucked here, because like they've told me that it's for life or whatever. But as I've got older, like I've just learned to kind of understand that like, even though it's a cycle, as long as I can just like predict the fact that I will feel down or something will trigger me to feel down, I can actually end up feeling much better about it. Do you know what I mean? Like I end up like not feeling as like down as I expect to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds like you don't really fear it as much as well now.
That's it, yeah.
Based on what you're saying there.
Yeah, fear's definitely the thing. I think like at first I literally thought like, this is like the end of my life. Do you know what I mean? I thought like it couldn't get any worse type thing. But now, and I am like in a positive way now, but like I still have like up and down days. But yeah, I definitely don't fear it as much as I used to. I feel a lot more in control, and that's like the biggest thing, is the control. Is like, if I know I'm gonna feel down, then I'll do things actively that will cheer me up. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just letting it kind of dwell and just sit in my room all day and just not leave. I mean, I do that sometimes, but like I'm sure we all do that sometimes when we get a bit low.
Sit in your room smoking alone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Are you able to write songs at kind of both ends of the spectrum?
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, defo. Like sometimes it is hard, like when I'm really feeling like not motivated. But that's sometimes like 10 came out when I was feeling awful at the time, and that's like one of my favourite songs of ours, like to date still. And there's been some on the second album where I was definitely not in a good place, but it's really cathartic sometimes to make a song. Do you know what I mean? Like, or even just to pick up your guitar and like play some of your songs or play anything on the guitar is just like makes you feel like better. I can't explain it. I'm sure if you play an instrument you'll kind of know what I mean, but
yeah, I play saxophone.
Yeah, you'll know what I mean. And I I love saxophone. You know, my girlfriend got me a saxophone for my birthday,
Nice.
like last year, and like I still haven't played it properly because like I just can't let it. So hard. It's like so hard, isn't it?
It's just a release, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
yeah.
You just feel like a weight being taken off.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes you feel like, I don't know, much better when you can kind of make something that sounds good, and like, I don't know, like your body definitely reacts a lot to sounds. Like songs make you feel a certain way, so when you're playing, you can just make yourself feel better, and that music is just sick for like anything kind of like mental health related, I think, because even though like loads of musicians do go through mental health issues and stuff like that, like, and mental illness, but they still like kind of, you see loads of musicians still kind of trooping on because like you can just see that they're releasing, like, I don't know, they're releasing all like the badness through the music. Do you know what I mean? That sounds so cheesy.
It's probably why they turn to music, though.
Yeah, exactly. It makes you, it literally is like, it's like a form of medicine, like the way exercise is a form of like medicine in that sense. It's like, it makes you feel good. Like it, surely like it's releasing endorphins, and like you just, I don't know, you do just feel good whenever you listen to music. So I'm bigging up this, and like I've realised I haven't listened to like much music this week. I need to start. I'm gonna listen to loads of music after this tonight.
It's about, I feel like there's something about being able to express yourself in a way that isn't just speaking, though, if you know what I mean. Like it's a release in a way to kind of get stuff out, but without having to say anything.
Without having to actually talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Turn's like the perfect example of that. Like in the song, like I'm mentioning about like how like I was just kind of at a point in life where I was a bit like paranoid. I felt like no one wanted to be my friend, and like felt like really alone. But then like instead of talking to my mates about it, like I just put a song out with the kind of basically talking about it, and then like everyone still gets it, and you just don't really have to have that conversation. It is good to have those conversations though, but yeah, it definitely is like a way of getting stuff off your chest and kind of not really feeling any repercussion from it.
Did putting that song out make it easier to have that conversation in person?
Yeah, I think it probably did. It was that song's got like, I think it means a lot to all the boys in the band, because it was like a really tough year in our lives in 2017. Like there was some time around like the start of the year, I'd taken an overdose, and like it was like a big massive thing, and then I was fine afterwards. And then like midway into the year, or like early spring, Carl's dad died, and then literally like 4 months later, Josh's dad died, and they were both like just came out of nowhere. And then we brought out Turn like in the September of that year. It just kind of meant a lot to the boys. I know it's Josh's favourite song of ours, and I think it's just because it's about feeling like, even though from my perspective, it was like I was feeling alone and like I was feeling down. Like it's just about like that. I'm sure when that happened to both of them, they had that feeling of being alone. Do you know what I mean? And they definitely had to grieve and feel down. So I think that's why we all love that song so much. Do you know what I mean? Even though like it was about my experience originally, it then became about like all of our experience when by the time we were like releasing the song. Definitely.
Yeah, it's probably the only song that you've written, or in a very direct way, you're kind of channeling the weight of 3 out of the 4 members, instead of just sometimes the one when it comes to vocals.
Yeah, definitely is.
Do certain songs kind of open up doors for you? Like, was that the first song you written that was in such a dark vein?
I think so. I mean, like, it depends. What people class as like a dark vein. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously you've got loads of songs about like heartbreak and stuff like that, but I think it was maybe the first song that we'd made that like hinted towards like my experience a bit more. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was hard to like kind of sing it in the studio when we were recording it, and like we did a music video for it, and at first I was like, I don't want to do a music video for it because like it would just make me proper like emotional, do you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I feel like doing those things and like singing it in the studio, and then we did do a music video for it, just made me love the song even more. Do you know what I mean? We did the video for it well after, because at the time I really didn't want to do one. But then leading up to like when we were bringing the album out and that, we just thought like we need a video, and like we haven't done one for 10 before, so we just thought like let's just do it. We need to get it out. So it was like, I just kind of suck it up and get on with it type thing. And it's made me love the song like even more.
Just strengthens that connection to it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I thought it would push me away from it, to be honest. I thought it'd be like, I can't like have this song that like, I don't know, it just felt too raw. Do you know what I mean? But it just, I don't know, doing the video just made it feel like, okay, I'm okay with this. I was just stressing out over nothing.
Has a song ever been pushed away from you as a result of being like too raw and just a little bit too intense?
None that I can like think of. There's definitely been songs that like I've written by myself, like on an acoustic guitar, that have been a bit like sad, but never like too sad to be like turned away. I think like the saddest one we've brought out is probably a message to myself, and like obviously like hence the title. It's a message to myself about like just like life in general, and just kind of like keep on going type thing. But that had more of a positive spin to it, even though it was a sad song. Like the chorus is like, take care. It was just like a message to myself, basically, to just like, you need to look after yourself and not let yourself kind of slip.
Is that why you made it so simple? Like both in lyrical kind of layout and also the presentation of it just being you and the guitar?
Yeah, because I just wanted it to be like literally what it says on the tin, like, listen to this whenever you're feeling shit. Just keep going, keep on trucking. Like, it's not, whatever you're stressing about right now is not the end of the world. So yeah, I think it was like it was a message for myself, but it was a message for my future self, for whenever like I need it. Do you know what I mean? So I just thought like it's a lot more personal, it just being the acoustic guitar and just my vocal, because I feel like it's a full band tune. You can get carried away with like the music and the rhythm and the beat, and you're like, oh no, but this song's like so good, like it's just bouncing. Whereas like with an acoustic, like you've got to listen. Do you know what I mean? You've got to, the only feeling that you're gonna get is the acoustic guitar playing, and you've not got like this rhythm pounding in the background distracting you. You've just got to like kind of listen in like the here and now, rather than like kind of, because I feel like when you're listening to a full song, you just kind of like, you're listening for everything. You're trying to find things in the song that like might not even be there. Like you're trying to find like maybe like a drone synth note that's like you can hear, but it's not actually there in the song. Do you know what I mean? Like you're always trying to nitpick. But yeah, with acoustic songs, especially when it's literally as simple as an acoustic and a vocal and not got anything else on it, they're just easier to kind of listen to, especially when you've got a message that you need to kind of say.
It's like putting a spotlight on it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm just rambling on, but
that's what podcasts are about.
Yeah. I'm just chatting shit.
It's interesting what you're saying there, though, about, in the studio there can be the temptation to blow it out and make it a full band song. How do you kind of maintain the perspective to know what is right for the song and not just what might be good? Because something can be great, but it might not work for what you're wanting to do.
Yeah, sometimes it's like literally just the process of trying it as a full band, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Like there's so many songs that we've written as a band that will never come out, because not that they're bad songs at all, but it's even like they're just not the right song for the EP that's about to come out, or the album that we need to bring out, or even just a single to release. Like they're just not what we want to put out there at that time, and then you forget about them. Yeah, I don't know, like with acoustic songs, and then like as opposed to like band songs, I think making the choice between the two is pretty much like it pretty much 90% of the time will go to being a band song. Do you know what I mean? But then sometimes we'll make a song on piano or something, and it'll just be like, no, this just sounds really good on piano. There was one we were supposed to bring out like a because we've got an EP coming out, and I wrote like a piano song for it, and we tried to make it into like a full band song, and it just didn't work. But it kind of didn't work to the point where it made me doubt the actual piano song by itself, and then we kind of just binned it off and then wrote a few more instead. But yeah, it is quite a tricky process sometimes, because it can lead you to like binning off like song ideas that, like, when you actually think back to them or listen back to a voice note or something on your phone, you're like, that song was decent, like, why did we fuck it up?
It can be so hard to capture that like original emotion as well, though, like from the actual like voice note, whatever.
Yeah, defo. There's even songs on like the album where like we have mixed signals on the album, and the vocal in mixed signals is the same vocal that was in the original one. Like, I was gonna sing it again, but it just didn't work. And then my guitar part is the same one that was in the original as well, because I tried to make my guitar part again, and I just couldn't get it sounding as nice. And I just thought, you know what, I just want the original in. I think everything else is new. Like, Josh and Aaron and Carl all did like their parts brand new for that song, but I just left mine the same. So we did that on a few songs for the album. I think we did Addicted as well. Was like, so the verses in Addicted are different. Like, I re-sang the whole song, and we like replayed the whole song. There was like, in the chorus, I just found it funny because, like, obviously we wrote that song when we were like 17. So like, there's like a 17-year-old me singing the chorus, and then like a 21-year-old me singing the double, like, for the chorus. And I just found it funny because, like, that song was about my girlfriend, who I'm still with now. And like, I was just thinking, like, I wrote this song about you when I was 17, and now I'm bringing it out on my debut album, like, when I'm 21. Like, it's just like so mad to think about.
That's what the album's about as well, though, really, isn't it? Kind of charting that whole path through late adolescence into adulthood, and kind of losing innocence a little bit, or maturing would maybe be a better way.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to come back to mixed signals with keeping the vocal the same, what are you doing to the vocals on the bridge of that when you've kind of got the effects on it?
Oh, where it sounds like it's in like a kind of like, it sounds like it's on like a phone or something.
Yeah,
I can't even remember how we did that, you know. I think we like recorded it on a tape machine. I think it's just like a delay or a reverb just fully wet, and then like it sounds mad, doesn't it? It sounds proper cool. But that was like down to Rob, who's like our manager slash producer at the time. Like, we kind of knew what we wanted, because obviously we wrote that song again when we were like 17, 18, and then like, yeah, Rob was just kind of off when we first got in the studio, when we didn't know anything about producing music ourselves. Like, we'd just kind of say to him, we need it to sound like this, and we'd like do an impersonation of like what we needed it to sound like. Like, you'd put your hands in front of your mouth, or you'd just do anything, and he'd kind of just be able to replicate it with like plugins and stuff on Pro Tools. So we just knew kind of what we wanted. It was like a really good chemistry when we first started.
You kind of had that language with him from the get-go, the way that you could just communicate so easily like that.
Yeah, I think it was because like, so we met Rob by kind of producing with him, basically. So the way we used to record those songs in the garage and stuff, like, we made demos, but we didn't know how to mix them, and we certainly didn't know how to produce them well enough at the time.
You're like 16 though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're 16, and like we're just starting out, and we're kind of experimenting with these like microphones and with a 16 track and Logic and GarageBand. Like, we'd never used this type of thing before. Yeah, we saved up enough money between us. I think it's like 125 quid each to record with Rob for like 2 days or something.
That's a lot of money when you're 16.
Yeah, it was a lot of money we saved up for so long. Like, but we were like proper determined about it. Do you know what I mean? We were like, we want to go to this studio, and like, we want to try and see like if we can do something with this band. Because at this point, by the way, like, I forgot to mention, like, when we did start doing those like tunes in the garage or whatever, that was just me and Josh. And then kind of like we were mates with Carl and Aaron anyway. And then Carl was like the best drummer we knew, and Aaron was a guitarist at the time. And we convinced Aaron to play bass, And then basically Carl was just like, we sent Carl one of the demos we'd made, and he was like, lad, I'm game, I'm the drummer now. I mean, that was just like how we became like the band, because we'd been in bands together since we were kids, like loads of different ones, but it was never like the four of us together. Yeah, so we got to the studio and we recorded this song called Growing Up with Rob. We kind of left. We had the 2 days there. It was Boss. We recorded the song. We were really happy with it. We put it on SoundCloud. And then like a week later, Rob messaged us and he was like, I haven't done this before, but like I really thought like the sound from the band was really good. I'd like to work with you in some way. I've never managed the band before, but I've like got some connections like to managers of bands. So like, do you want to just meet up and we'll do something? And we played a gig for him. And then it was kind of like, that was it. It was like, Rob's our manager now. He introduced us to Simon Bobbitt, who is our other manager also. So they like co-manage us, who's the Wombats manager. And then it kind of just like went mad from there, because like we'd played Sound City in like the conference room for Simon. Like it was the first gig we played for him. And then like basically we just walked up to him after and we were just like, yeah, we're like, you're our manager now, let's go. Like we're gonna smash life or whatever. And then literally like later that year, he was like, a band's just dropped out of the Wombats tour, do you want to do it? And we were like 17 at this time. We were like, shit, like going on tour, and we were like, we didn't have enough songs, so we had to like write another 2 songs, because we only had like a 5-song set at the time that we were like really happy with. So we wrote another 2 songs, and I think we wrote Addicted in that time. And then we played Addicted on our very first tour. Yeah, it kind of just went from there, like really weirdly. We've been on tour with the Wombats like so many times now, because like we've got the same manager, and like, I don't know, we've got like really good mates with them now, and it just like feels good to be on tour with people who like you're friends with, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it can be tough, so it makes it a little easier.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to like break it up as well, because although like you love the boys you're in the band with, like you're with each other 24/7, so like you can get a bit like fed up with each other sometimes. So like it's good to like break it up and like have other people that you can like speak to throughout the day. And like even the way I say like fed up, we don't like get like fed up. It's just like more, you know, kind of claustrophobic when you're in a van with the same 4 or 5 people every day. And it's just like you need to kind of break it up and speak to other people on tour. That's why tour is so good, because you get to meet like other artists and get to kind of hear what life's like from their perspectives as well.
Where do you find space to be alone on tour?
Sometimes I just take myself off on walks, you know, like before we play shows. Like normally we all go get food together, and we do, because like, to be fair, we are all literally like best mates, so we want to spend like all our time together, like we do everything together. But like sometimes if I really feel like I need some alone time, I'll just take myself off whatever city we're in or wherever we are, and just maybe go get a coffee or just kind of have a walk around and explore a bit.
There's always like a monument or something you can walk past, whatever city you're in.
Yeah, exactly. And there's always like a coffee shop, like there's always even just a shop to go in, just for something to do, like an excuse to go off and kind of explore a little bit. But I wish we did that more often, because like sometimes like you're driving for most of the day, and then by the time you get to a place, you kind of just got to play the gig, and then by the time you've played the gig, it's nighttime, so you don't really get to explore too much. But sometimes you're there like the day before, and like we had a gig in Oxford like 2 years ago, and we went punting in the daytime. Do you know where they like push the boat on the canal with the big pole? Yeah, never done it before in my life, but like it's just like things like that are boss to do, do you know what I mean? Like we got to like experience like stuff like that. And when we were in Europe, we just, because we all skateboard as well, so we just go off skating, go to like the local skate parks or whatever, and just kind of explore as much as we can before we play the show, because once you play the show, you kind of just like in the gig then the whole night.
You don't drink much on tour though, do you?
No, not really.
Tame,
yeah, we used to, but like I kind of tend to not because of my voice, because I've got to sing every night. So if I drink every night, like, I know some people can drink every night, but like, I know me limits. Like, my voice will be wrecked if I drink every night. So we kind of don't. Like, we smoke a bit, but like, that's it really. Like, we'll only smoke like a bit of weed or something, and then just kind of chill out. But we don't really drink that much. Like, the boys aren't drinkers. Like, they're all stoners, to be fair. Yeah, they're definitely more like stoners than they are drinkers. But yeah,
it's a skateboarder cliche.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly that. I mean, to be fair though, I love having a bevy, but like, I just haven't much like in the past like few years because of my voice. Just want to kind of preserve it.
So when you're in the studio, is it just the four of you and Rob?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Is that kind of how you're able to express yourself vocally in the way that you're doing and completely open up? Would you be able to do that if there were other people in the studio, or is it part of that kind of intimacy that feeds into it?
No, I defo could do it, but like sometimes it's even just me and Rob when I'm doing vocals, because like sometimes we'll have finished the song but then not had time to do vocals, or I might have not been well at the time, so we were like, we'll do vocals in like a few days when my voice is better. So sometimes, if not most of the time, it is just me and Rob in the studio when I'm doing vocals, and it's normally at about like 11 p.m. onwards. Sometimes we've done like nights like 1, 2, 3 where we're just doing vocals, because like we had like, it was when we were like doing the album, I had like a vocal injury, and then it was like really hard to kind of navigate around my voice being well enough to sing. And then so like sometimes I'd just ring Rob at like midnight and be like, it sounds, like right now my voice isn't sore. And then he'd be like, let's get in the studio. So it was kind of like in the moment, I think.
Does that feed into it in any way, that kind of spontaneity of it?
I think it probably definitely does for like the vocals in 015. There's loads of things like in loads of songs on 015 that I'm not that happy with vocally, but I think that's just me kind of, like I said before, just nitpicking. Sorry, I just fucking choked on my drink there. Like nitpicking. Yeah, I think I'm just kind of not a perfectionist, but like there's definitely things where I think like I could have sang that better. It's annoying that I didn't, and it's out, but people are still liking it, so I don't think anyone else actually cares as much as I care.
There's a balance between being technically right and being emotionally spot on, though, and it's tough to strike.
That's true. That's very true, actually. That's something I've only noticed like recently as well, because like I said, with that vocal injury, it's like it's been ongoing for like the past 2 years. I've been kind of like struggling with my voice quite a bit over the past 2 years, and like I'm doing like vocal therapy at the minute. Yeah, that was kind of something that I noticed, was like sometimes I would sing like purely from the emotion behind it, and like the performance, don't get me wrong, would be good, but it was just knackering my voice sometimes, because like in turn, like when we play turn every night in a gig, there's like one part in the second verse where it's like I go to like a higher note. It's like, I won't believe it when they tell me, but it's like the I at the start is like, I just love screaming it a bit live, just shouting it. And then like I ended up just knacking my voice doing that every night on tour. But yeah, definitely like agree with you. Like as long as the emotion's there in the recording, that's all that matters, because you want a song that makes you feel. You don't want a song that's like technically correct.
Yeah, it's like Addicted on the record. I think it's like the second chorus or something, the way you kind of just fall away at the end of it.
Yeah,
as it finishes.
Yeah, that's that kind of thing. It's like just it's kind of, I don't know, like it's just feeling out the music, isn't it?
You still do the lemon and honey before you go on stage as well?
How are you onto all this? Yeah, I was doing when we were touring before this bloody pandemic, but yeah, I think I'll always do that. I'm just like addicted to it. Sometimes I literally like drink from the honey bottle and just put a little bit of water in it, and it's disgusting. Like it's just like drinking sugar. But I do it anyway because I was told it was good for my voice, and then when I started this vocal therapy, they said honey doesn't do anything for your voice. It's just a load of shit. And I was like, I could have saved so many probably like cavities that are going to happen in my teeth eventually because of the amount of bloody honey I was drinking on tour. Like 2 bottles, like a week at least.
There could be a mental thing behind it though.
Yeah,
like you almost
definitely
need to do something like ritualistic to.
Yeah, I used to have, do you know, like a hot toddy with like whiskey in it, and like yeah, I used to have like hot toddies before gigs, and that was like my ritual. And then I started like doing actual vocal exercises, and then that kind of became like habitual, which is good because I never used to do them at all.
Do you have writing habits or patterns perhaps when it comes to the actual kind of surroundings in which the songs fall into place?
I don't know, I'm sure like you'll know what I mean here from like playing saxophone, where like, you know, when you pick up an instrument you kind of always play your favourite things straight away, don't you? Like
yeah,
you like whenever I pick up a guitar, whatever tuning it's in, I'll play whatever my favourite thing is in that tuning first. And like sometimes when I'm like writing, that can lead into like a song, because like my favourite thing won't be like a song. I mean, my favourite thing will just be, you know, just like, I don't know, just like a little riff or like a chord sequence that like I've made myself, that I just, when I made it I was like, whoa, this is sick, but I just didn't do anything with it. And like, I don't know, there's one song that we're going to bring out this year that's got a piano on it, and I played the piano on it, but every single time I sit down at a piano, that's the very first thing I play is like the intro to that song, because I just love it. Like, and that's limiting me writing on piano, because then I just think like, oh no, I'm just playing my own songs now and I'll just stop. Do you know what I mean? So it can limit you a little bit when I do stuff like that, but I've been trying my best not to recently. Like because usually I was speaking to Josh the other day. Josh is like the go-to person in the band to, you know, find music, new music you just don't know about. Like, he's just like sources it. Like, he just knows where to go. I go through mad phases where like when I'm writing music, I don't listen to any music at all, because like I see it as like a challenge to, if I want to listen to music, I need to make some. Do you know what I mean? Which is a bit mad, because like I didn't realise it was mad until I spoke to Josh about it the other day, and he was like, really? Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, lad, like I listen to music all the time when I'm writing. And he was like, because then you just get ideas from certain songs. And I was just thinking like, yeah, like I've just been limiting myself so much like over the years, because I've always done that. Like I don't listen to music because like I've always had this fear of like copying something subconsciously, and then like getting to the end of writing a song and then like realizing, shit, that's someone else's song already. So like I just distance myself from other people's music.
It maybe gives you a certain clarity as well. Like I remember seeing over Christmas Jack Saunders, the DJ, posting about how he didn't listen to any music for 2 weeks, and when he came back everything sounded so fresh and he felt like he had such a different perspective on music at large.
Yeah, definitely. Like that's like kind of exactly how it makes me feel. Like when I do, because like when I had that conversation with Josh, it made me think, okay, I need to listen to some music now, because I haven't in like quite a while. And then when I did, I was just like, I just felt so good about it. Do you know what I mean? Like everything I was listening to, he made me a playlist, and everything I was listening to on it was new to me. And like, so like I was just so interested in how they made it, and like wanting to make something that made me feel the same way as that did. I think that was like a big thing that we used to do when we were younger, is like, even though I'm saying that like I don't really listen to music when I'm writing it, there would be songs that like, you know, like my favourite songs that would stand out to me, and I'd be like, I want to make a song like that. But by like that I don't mean like in that key or with a similar chord progression or like similar melody. I just want to make a song that makes me feel the way that I feel when I listen to that song. Do you know what I mean? I can't even remember what it was called, you know, and it's going to do me head in this because I'll remember it later on. But there was this song by this band, and they weren't that big, they were from America, and we all used to love it in the band. I'm so
Title
bad
Fight.
at names. We all love Title Fight, yeah. We all love Title Fight, like that's mad. But it's not Title Fight, this one, but like, we all used to love that song, and then I thought like we need to make a song that makes us feel like that. And then we wrote our song Strange Clothes because it's kind of just like a wall of sound, and it just makes you feel like a certain way inside. Like, I don't know, whenever I listen to that tune, I feel like proper warm inside, because it's a proper nice song as well. Like, I don't even know if my brother knows this, but like I wrote that for my brother because like he was like going through some like shit at the time, and it was just like a kind of, you know, like the way the chorus was like, and I swear down, I swear if I could feel it all for you, I would, type thing. And yeah, that just makes me feel like proper warm inside when we play it or whenever I listen to it.
It's another interesting one, like what you're saying, to look at in the context of the album instead of because when I heard it on the EP that it was on, I can always saw it to be about like heartbreak and running into someone you used to know in town and how they've kind of changed. But then in the context of the record, when you've got all the other stuff about mental health going on, it kind of takes on the shape, like you're saying, that of trying to help carry other people's burdens almost.
Yeah. It's mad that like you say that as well, because like so many people have said that to me about songs where like they're like, this really helped me like get through a breakup and stuff like that. And it's like about a song that's got nothing to do with that, but it's just amazing that like all songs are kind of open for interpretation. I think that's something that I always kind of took into songwriting, that recently I've kind of steered away from a bit recently, because like the way I've been saying to you, I've been listening to like a lot of emo folk music that's kind of very like right here, right now type lyrics. They're just like, they can make no sense, but they make all the sense they need to make.
The stream of consciousness.
Yeah, exactly. But then obviously like with all our songs, the way I've had people say in the past, like that's like helped me with this, that's helped me with this, but then it's got nothing to do with it. I think that's kind of down to the fact that like I purposely did that, like in loads of songs, like I purposely didn't say what the actual problem was in the songs, you know what I mean? Like I just kind of spoke about the emotions that people were having that like obviously coincide with loads of things like depression and heartbreak and like loneliness and all sorts. Like they're all different things, but like at the end of the day they all make you feel sad, don't they? Or the things can make you feel happy. And I think that's, I don't know why I've had people say that to me in the past, like that song's helped me so much, blah blah blah, because like it's being open to interpretation. The way we wrote it kind of worked. Like I wanted it to be open to interpretation. It can help a lot more people if you do it that way. Do you know what I mean? Like I know music's not all about helping people, but it kind of is.
Yeah, it's either about helping yourself or helping other people.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, there's always a motive behind it to kind of, I don't know, yeah, like help yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you do on the song following Strange Clothes, Take Care, where you kind of just, again, it's like one of the most direct moments on the record where you're just admitting that I need to love myself.
Yeah, definitely. That was like a mad one, because I wrote that on piano and I always loved it, but I never thought to put it in like a band thing. As we were like trying to make interludes for the album to join the songs together, I realised like when we were trying to find something to go before I Know I'm Sure, that was just like the perfect song to do it. So then we actually made it into like a proper kind of like, it had the Rhodes on it and like a little beat on it and from the drum machine. And then you're right, it is like a proper direct moment. It's like the genre of music almost changes a little bit, and then it kind of leads it into I Know I'm Sure, which is like, that's my favourite song off the album, and like probably like the most emotional song we've got because it's so long and it's in 3/4, and it's just like you can just have a little waltz to it. Have a little slow dance.
It's probably the most optimistic song on the album as well.
Yeah,
like you're
definitely.
Singing about believing that everything's going to work out and get better.
Yeah, defo. So that was a mad one for me, because like when I was, because basically it was a proper weird one, like when we were doing the first album, like because I was having all this trouble with my voice, I was taking ages to write lyrics because I was finding it hard to write melodies that I didn't know if I'd be able to sing at the time. So it took like quite a bit of time to write the lyrics for the songs after the music was already recorded. And like with I Know I'm Sure, it was like a proper mad one because like my auntie had like just died. Like we were on our way to play Transmit Festival in Scotland, and I had a call from like my mum saying that my auntie had died like whilst I was on the way there. But she was like she had cancer, and she'd had it a few times. So like I think everyone kind of knew it was going to happen eventually, but I just didn't know it was going to happen then. And like at the time, I was thinking like I'd love to write a song like about me auntie, just because like I loved her a lot, and it kind of like it was weird because then I didn't end up writing a song about that, but then I kind of wrote a song which is like she was like a proper hippie like type person. She was just like, do you know, even though she was like she had cancer and stuff, I spoke to her at like my brother's wedding, which was the last time I saw her. I was just kind of being quite matter of fact with her, and I was just asking her like how she was feeling, like, and we were talking about like it was a bit of a morbid conversation because we were talking about death. But she said to me like she was like, do you know what? Like I'm glad that you spoke to me about this because like everyone else is like being dead nice and like being like concerned, but then I was just kind of speaking to her quite like this is what's happening, how are you feeling type thing. And then I just kind of like instead of writing a song about me auntie, like about her directly, I kind of like thought about like how positive she was even leading up to the fact that she was dying. Do you know what I mean? Like, and she had cancer, she just was like still so happy and positive, and like just kind of thought that was kind of could be channeled into a song.
Similar to what you were saying earlier about how you'll try and write a song to achieve the feeling that another song gives you, it's almost like you're trying to write a song to achieve the feeling that that conversation gave you, maybe. Or
yeah, no, because I think about that conversation all the time. Do you know what I mean? Because it was only me and her who had that conversation, so like it's not even like anyone else can like think back to it. Do you know what I mean? Like I think about it all the time because it was like the last time I spoke to her properly. And yeah, defo like it was weird because like I was having a proper writer's block with it at first because I was like trying to write lyrics in the van for that song, and I wasn't even like writing anything good. And then I'd had the call saying like that had happened to me auntie, and then like I just stopped writing lyrics for the day, and then I just started writing the lyrics in the van after we'd played the gig. I think it like took me a while because I just didn't want to be like corny. Do you know what I mean? So I was just like trying to write lyrics that were just kind of open ended, but I kind of had that feeling attached to them. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, you want to write a song that's as impactful as the conversation.
Yeah.
But you don't want, especially if it's that important to you, it puts a little bit of pressure on the actual process itself because you don't want to, butcher it. I couldn't think of a better expression.
No, I know what you mean. Like, yeah, because I didn't want to like make I didn't want to just put like really shit lyrics down and like say they meant this, because like to be honest, that's the first time I've ever like said that out loud about what that song means. Like I've always known what that song meant to me, but like I've never actually like spoke to anyone about it. Like I haven't spoke to even the boys in the band about it because like I just didn't feel like it was important to mention at the time.
Yeah, they'll put their own meaning on it too.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll apply to something in their life.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I want from it. I don't want to be like, this is a song and this is about me, everyone, so just think about my life. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't want to be like that type of person. Like I just want our music to like help people with whatever they're going through. Just proper sick as well, because this kid messaged me around like Christmas time. His sister messaged me. I won't say his name, but his sister messaged me on Christmas saying like, can you like write a letter to like me, or no, can you sign like an autograph for me brother, or something. And he was bipolar type 1, and like I knew who he was fan wise because I'd met him before. And he loved our band, like he loves our band so much. And I see his comments on Twitter and stuff, like I'm just onto him, do you know what I mean? There's like some fans that you just like, they are. Then like I just said to her, yeah. So I like wrote him a letter, like about like obviously being bipolar and that. I knew his favourite song was I Know I'm Sure. And I knew it was because like he'd been able to attach that kind of like, I knew it because obviously I get it as well. I knew how he'd attach that song to that feeling. Do you know what I mean? And I just thought it was boss. So like I wrote him a letter. He messaged me like saying how like much of like he's had like such an affinity to like our music because of the fact that he knows that like I'm bipolar and he is, and he like struggles and stuff, but like he thinks it's boss that like his favourite band or whatever are, like the singers like goes through the same stuff as well and like still makes music good enough for him to love. Do you know what I mean?
Comes back to what we were saying about music is either written to help yourself or help other people.
Yeah.
And it can do both.
Yeah, definitely. I think
in the same song.
Yeah, I think helping yourself, I think helping other people helps yourself as well, because you can't feel bad when you're like making other people happy, can you? Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean you can, but very rarely. Like, if you know something you've done directly makes someone else happy, you feel good about it, don't you?
Yeah, on every level, whether like what you're doing there is like a big thing that's, you know, helping someone, but even if you do something like, that's why we share music and like art with each other and stuff, isn't it? Like when you send someone something because you know it's going to give them a bit of a buzz, and then it gives you a buzz in return.
Yeah, it's mad thinking about it like that, isn't it? Because it's like when you're doing it at the time, you're not actively like, I don't know, you probably are sometimes, but like I think with music especially, you just know someone will like this, and I don't know, it's weird. I find it weird because the only person I ever really show music to is my girlfriend. Like, and by music I just mean like music I've found on Spotify, because we just kind of, maybe that's this year actually, because I haven't really seen anyone else because we live together, so that might be that. It's hard, it's so hard, isn't it, like thinking back to what life was like before COVID. It's bloody mad.
Yeah, it's weird how normalised it's become. That's the thing I keep thinking about.
Yeah, I think it's strange. Like, I can't wait till it's all over. I mean, I don't know your views on it, but like, I find it mad the way there's people who think it's like a plandemic and all stuff like that. Like, that confuses me a little bit, because like it's obviously like it's happening, and like I don't get why like people would think like a Tory government would like do anything that would cripple the country financially. Like, that just wouldn't happen. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I think it's the same thing that fuels like any form of discrimination. It's that when something awful happens, and the same thing that fuels all conspiracy theories, is that whenever something awful happens, you want an easy answer, and something easy to blame.
Someone to blame. Yeah, I think that's definitely it. I think like it's a tricky one, innit? Because like the way they've handled it is being appalling. Like, it has been so bad. But then like I've got to a point myself where I've just stopped looking at the news because it's just too depressing to look at.
Yeah, so what we were saying before we came on air, like there's no point in worrying about things that you can't change.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and obviously like it's good to be in the know with what's going on. I don't know, I feel like life for me right now is very much just keep everyone safe and just try and kind of like get on with it. Do you know what I mean? I think like three of the, like me, Carl and Josh all had COVID at the very start of this year. Man. And that was like the second time I had it. We were all fine. Like they were a bit unwell, but I was okay. I had it well worse like last year because I didn't even know I had it at the time. But like I thought I had like tonsillitis, because it was like, you know, when COVID was very first like happening in our country in like April, and I thought I had tonsillitis because like years ago I had tonsillitis and I was shivering and I had like cold sweats and I was like really unwell, just couldn't get out of bed, and I had a fever. But then I ended up turns out I just had COVID, I think, because I had the antibody test and then I had the antibodies. So it's mad, like loads of people are getting it and it is stress, but like I don't know. It's so hard to even think about it at the minute, because like like you say, like there's no point worrying about it. So I literally have kind of like just had it, even though I had it at the start of the year, I still was just like trying to block it out my mind. Do you know what I mean? Just still like being careful in terms of like seeing people and stuff, because I don't want to pass it. Because I think even though I've had it, I can carry it and pass it on. So I don't want to like get anyone ill, but I think like the isolation is just getting a bit much now for everyone.
It's almost been a year.
Yeah, it's mad. Like so basically like the boys in the band, like this year's been a hard one for us, obviously, like because we've kind of been so unsure about what the future is. So we've been trying to stay positive, but then like only until recently, like recently we've started getting like really positive, and we're like sure that like everything's going to be sound again. But like there was a period of time where we just didn't see each other for months, because like I lived at home at the time, and like I was like scared of giving it to me more and more. Like I had to go like the hospital for stuff to do with my throat, so I was like I had to isolate quite a bit. And then I saw them like the other day after we'd all had COVID, and like it's like the first time I've seen them in so long, and I was just saying to them, it's like mad how like anxious I am around my best mates like right now, because like social anxiety is just like so like prevalent right in people right now, because like there's literally been no social like interaction with anyone outside your household for so long. It's like I was saying to them, like my head's gonna fall off when we're playing a gig in front of like 2,000 people, and I'm having to talk to them like, hello, just like proper awkward.
Have you noticed that like impact your songwriting? Is it becoming like more internal in any way with that lack of like direct connection to other people?
Yeah, I reckon so. Like I've been like I've been writing quite a lot of like folky type tunes that like aren't necessarily for the band, just like for myself. And I haven't done that in like quite a long time, because of just like everything I've ever written's kind of like been for the band. But like we've all kind of been doing that as well, and like we've all been showing like our music to each other, and like even like featuring on each other's songs and stuff. So it's like it's weird. It's like the band's like we're all making like music for the band, but then like separately we're all making like our own songs. And then so there'll be like a song that Josh or Carl's made, and then I'll sing a verse on it, and then like that'll be my part in that song. Do you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure like we're gonna try and at some point this year or next year have it all come out under like maybe another name, but like it's still gonna be like the band, but it's gonna be like the band and other creative people who like we work with and like we're mates with, who like want to be in songs and do music. And then like we're gonna have like the Night Café as the kind of hub behind like the whole thing. Like the Night Café is like the band that we focus our career on, but then these other things are just like a way we can release all that music that wouldn't make it to the Night Café's albums. Do you know what I mean? That we still think's boss.
Yeah, have you still got quite, because you had a few songs that kind of didn't make it onto this record that you recorded, right?
Yeah, so I think we recorded like, I think it was like 22, or we'd written like 22, and then we recorded all the ones that were on it. And I think though we did like bin off like 2 actual recorded songs, and then 2 like just songs that were written, but they weren't ready for the album type thing. Yeah, and then we did that, and then the cutting down process was quite hard, because obviously like 18 songs is quite a lot for like your debut album nowadays. So like everyone was telling us like, don't do 18, like you need to just have like 10 or 12, because like it's just like what everyone does. And we were just like, nah, like even though 4 of the songs are interludes, like we need them on there. We need the 18 track list. We just thought we were proper cool doing it.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have the flow without it.
Yeah, you wouldn't, not at all.
I think it would feel a little bit more bitty. Like it feels like quite a whole thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what we were trying so hard to do as well. It's like, there's a song called Breathing In, isn't there? And it's like 30 seconds long, and it literally is just like a police siren going past outside our practice room, and like a conversation, which then leads into a song. And it's like to break up the kind of song, so it's not just constant like dun dun dun, just like music going like full ham like all the time. Do you know what I mean? It's just nice to have those little periods in like an album where you do breathe in, and that's why that's called Breathing In, because it's like a period in the album where I think everyone should take a step back, like think about something else, and then just return to the music when turn comes in.
Funny how you go from sirens to turn, when turn's kind of where you're at your lowest point on the record.
Yeah. I know. I thought that like at the time as well. I thought like, but I thought it led into it so well. I just thought like it just makes sense to have like sirens, like distress signals basically just going off before like a really intense song about feeling shit about life.
What was the hotline you had? on the billboard.
Oh shit, yeah, we got like a phone. That was like the label's idea. I think it was like a dead good idea as well, to be fair, because like obviously it was called 0151, so they were thinking like, let's get an 0151 number, and when people call it, it'll come to our phone. And we bought like a phone for the band, and then it was just like a kind of a WhatsApp thing where it was like people who were in that would come like first served for like tickets to shows and merch drops and stuff. But then also it was like we were posting stuff in it, so like fans like had like a kind of like a chance to feel a bit more connected to us, because I think that's one thing we've always lacked in a bit with the band, is like we've always been kind of like not like mysterious, but like definitely heading towards mysterious, like because we don't really post like many videos, and we don't really post like too many things of us like talking and like having a laugh, and it's all quite like serious like pictures, but and we do post like quite sporadically as well, so it's like we have been kind of low key. So I think like this year we're gonna try and like be a bit more on it with our socials, because we're all just not like natural kind of social media users. Like I find it dead weird being on like social media. I only really use Instagram. I think actually I only have Instagram and Facebook, but I never use Facebook. And even then, like I only follow like stuff I'm like really interested in. I don't even like the pictures, you know, like I just scroll. Like I just scroll and I'm like brain dead.
And before you know it, 20 minutes has gone by.
Yeah, I've had to set like an do you know, like the screen time thing on iPhones now, where you can like basically have a message come up saying like your time's up on this app. I've set like a 45-minute one per day on Instagram. I end up like ignoring it every single day. Cancel it. I'm like, ignore for today. Fuck it.
I feel like you can get away with a little bit more Instagram time in lockdown.
Oh yeah, defo. I feel like you can get away with pretty much anything in lockdown. Like I'm like quite into me gaming, so like I built myself a PC in lockdown, and like I've just been doing, you know, all just mad stuff that like I just wouldn't normally do when I'm like home alone. I think it's like quite good to break it up though, because if I was like songwriting constantly, I just like it would just do me head in.
It's an intense thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like with the way I was saying about like the problems I've been having with my voice over the year as well, they kind of like pushed me away from writing songs for quite a bit. I'd come back to doing them when like I had to write stuff for the band to bring stuff out. Otherwise I'd kind of like steer away from it a bit. But like I'm like on my way to kind of getting that sorted now, so like I'm feeling much more positive about that whole side of things, because there was like basically the first tour that we cancelled was because of like my throat basically. So we had the tour that we were supposed to do, the one that's being rescheduled from when it got cancelled because of COVID last year, but like that was originally supposed to happen in November 2019, and we cancelled it because like my voice was just destroyed, and basically like my mental health is like a kind of, I don't know, like it just had like a massive impact on like my mental health as well. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't really want to speak to anyone or see anyone for ages, so we just had to like it was a big decision to do. Like it wasn't taken lightly at all, because like we never want to do stuff like that. But and to be honest, I still think it was the right thing to do even now, even though I think like it's being cancelled again because of COVID and rescheduled again. Like at that time, like I couldn't have done the gigs. Like it would have been so hard to do.
I think as well, if you spend 2 months, say, putting yourself in a worse place mentally, it doesn't take 2 months to get out of that. It takes like a year to get out of that.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what I was like thinking. I was thinking like, if I do this tour, like I don't know what's going to happen after it. Do you know what I mean? So I couldn't deal with the kind of like the highs and the lows that you have when you're on tour, and you feel like so like special and happy when you're on stage, and then when you come off it, you can instantly just drop straight away, especially when you get back to the hotel room and it's just like silent, and you've just been in like a really crowded environment where like not an even like egotistical, but like everyone in that environment's like asked about like if you're okay type of thing. Do you know what I mean? And then like you get back to the hotel and you're just kind of alone and you have to do that every single night for like 2 months or so, and it's just like, it is a lot. And like, I love going on tour, don't get me wrong, but I think like that one exception was like the time where I thought like, okay, like I'm not ready to be able to go on tour right now. And I still stick by it as well. I think it was like the best decision for the time. It was like a tricky one because it was hard. It was a hard pill for the boys to swallow as well, because like no one was kind of like aware of the problems I've been having with my voice properly, like at that point. Do you know what I mean? So I think everyone just thought like I actually just couldn't be arsed doing it. But like, it was far from that. Like, when it was like January in 2020, I literally like wrote the whole second album in like a month. I was like the first time I'd written like any songs where I'd written like the lyrics first, because like I felt so bad about the tour that like usually when we write songs, we write them together, or like I'll come in with an idea and then we'll write it in the room. But like, I felt so bad about like the tour that I just like wanted to make it up to them. Do you know what I mean? So like, I just kind of like wrote like 12 full songs, and then was like, this is like the album we should bring out. And then everyone was just like, yeah, let's do it, type thing. And then since then we've written like a lot more, so they might not even be like all on the second album when it comes out. But yeah, I think it was kind of like the best thing that could have happened, because that not doing that tour, even though like it was a nightmare because it's been cancelled again because of COVID, blah blah blah, like it led to me writing the second album like in a really like quick kind of succession, like song after song after song. And then I feel like that makes this second album like sound so like consistent. Like they're all kind of like, they're not all the same, and it's not like one of those albums where every song's the same, this is boring, but they definitely all are of the same vein, you know what I mean? Like they all sound like they should be together in an album. So like, I don't think
you're coming out the gate with an intent.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think that would have happened on like if we would have done that tour. Like, in fact, I know it wouldn't have happened.